off to the principal's office I go. Yo, you think this is bad? Wait till I get my report card.
Welcome to episode 12 of the Principal's Office. This series aims to give you greater insight into educational life and what happens in school. It's certainly much more than a 9 to 3 job. I'm your host, I'm Matt Lewis, and today I'm very fortunate to actually have two parents of the school. Well, actually, one is not a parent anymore, but was started off as a parent of Lidcombe Public School, and the other is currently within the news at the moment as a parent of our school, but I'll introduce them. First, we got Bill Soliola to my right there. Bill is our current P&C President, amazing dad and a sports nut, has 8 children and 2 on the way, 2 in high school, 5 at Lidcombe Public School, and the youngest at preschool, whose actual name is Lidcombe, which is unbelievable. It's a fantastic thing. But in the news at the moment, because recently one of your videos about homeschooling has gone viral. So we might show a little bit of that at a later stage. But thanks for joining us today, Bill. And we've got Julie Rush, who is the very fabric of Lidcombe Public School. If there's something about Lidcombe you want to know, you should go to Julie, because Julie knows it all. Been a P&C president for over 20 years. 2 children went through the school. They're both now adults. I think your youngest is 23.
22, yeah.
Yeah. They both went through LPS. And you were also a community engagement officer for the school for about 5 years before now becoming the school administrative manager. And performing that very important function within our school on our executive. So just amazing, to have you both on the show and to get your perspectives on parent engagement. First of all, Bill, the viral video, and we'll put it on screen so that people can see some of it.
Oh, hi there. You must be from Lidcombe Public School. I'm Bill Soliola and I'm the president of the P&C. Come on in. Now that you're in my house, I would like to introduce you to my family. My dad, Lolo Fear, my wife, Sana, and my 8 beautiful children, 5 of which go to Lidcombe Public School. Mona, Elizabeth, Ty, Tania, Sephor, Sylvia, Arene, and baby Lidcombe. So, as you all know, it is Education Week. With my experience, let me take you back to where it all began. Yes, that's right. I myself went to Lidcombe Public School. No, not 10 years ago, not 20 years ago, but yes, 30 years. Wow, what a long time. But times have changed now. My kids go to Lidcombe Public School and I have been a parent for over 10 years. This week being Education Week, in the past, parents and guardians were able to physically attend school lessons. But with this pandemic, we have been homeschooling for the past 3 weeks. Now, it's time to see what I have learned by attending these Education Week programs as a parent at the awesome Lidcombe Public School.
I can't forget the day we met. Your eyes so blue, me piercing through. I can't forget the day we met. Your smile so bright, it made me swoon. Our love is like a summer's day, hot and endless in a magic way. Whenever I see you, all I can think is my summer love. Been waiting for you, my love. My summer love.
Wowzers, what a day. Well, I hope you enjoyed our video. As you can see, it's hard work, but it can be done as long as we work together. You help me, I help you. Teamwork. Lidcombe Public School is the place to be.
Thank you, Lidcombe Public School!
Stay safe.
Did you expect it to go as viral as it did?
No, actually, I thought it'd be a good uplifting thing for the school. Nicole asked me if I could do some, just talk about how homeschooling was. And I thought, well, if I can incorporate what the kids usually do on TikTok and all these other amazing things they do for their computer, I thought, yeah, why not give it a go? And yeah, and then we had Sana. She acted like the director. She wanted to do all these things, but to do takes in, 50 takes out. And what was a 2-minute video was, I think we worked on it for about an hour and a half.
Well, and Sana loves that sort of stuff, doesn't she? She's very tech minded and very social media platform type of thing. Sana is Bill's wife, and she attends P&C meetings, and at the end of each P&C meeting there has to be a P&C selfie, of course. But Bill, what a great message at the end of it, though. Like you were saying that like you just get in there and do what you can for your kids when they're learning from home. But if you've got questions, that's what the school's there for. And they're at the other end of the line, just give them a ring. And if you've got a great relationship with the school, then it should be all cool. And which you obviously do with our school. And we certainly thank you for that video. And certainly thank you for all the kids that you guys seem to be churning out, keeping our rugby teams well in stock for years to come. Anyway, all good.
Yeah.
Let's get the show started. The first thing is what I'd like to ask you both, and maybe I'll go to you first, Julie, is a funny story that you may have had as a parent. I usually ask this question to teachers and say, funny story you've had in education so far. But Julie, you could probably say an educational story because you do work in a school, but you've got the choice. So a funny story in education or a funny story as a parent so far.
Okay. I have to say it was quite hard trying to think of a funny story, only because my girls are grown up and sort of long time past being little kids and school. But one thing that did came to mind, which probably goes with the parent engagement thing, was that one of the first games that my youngest daughter and her best friend at the time, who happened to be the other P&C President's daughter, their favourite game and the first game they started playing together was P&C meetings. So it sort of gives you an idea of what those young girls at the ages of 2 and 3 and whatever they were spent most of their time doing, because that was their favourite game.
Wow. And isn't it amazing just how much our kids actually watch us and watch what we do and latch onto our passions, because the P&C has been a passion of yours for a very, very long time. And
without a doubt. Yep.
Yeah. So what a great story. Fantastic. What about you, Bill? A funny story as a parent so far?
Yeah, well, driving, I've got sort of 2 different scenarios. Well, the first one, when I drive the kids to school, sometimes I'm calling out one of the child's names, and I'm like, Tanya, for example, get in the car, we're waiting for you. And I'm looking at the back, and then there's a kid just turns around and says, I'm Tanya, we're waiting. You have too many kids, you forget whose name is who. So that's one scenario. But when I go to clubs and stuff like that, even schools, and they ask for the child's birthday, I always ask, can I call my wife? Because I practically been useless when it comes to dates. But yeah, they're the 2 difficult things. I don't know how you guys do it. It's very hard. I turn up and I see the staff. Always, everyone remembers everyone's names and parents. Kudos to you guys, Mr. Lewis and the staff, and all the teachers there. Thank you very much.
It's not easy when you've got so many people to look after, and breakfast is one thing, getting everybody dressed is another, but getting everybody in the car, yep, that's a big thing, Bill. And that's soon going to be, well, probably 9, I suppose. 9 will be at school when the twins arrive and start going to school. Maybe yes. Elizabeth might be out of school at that stage. Yeah. I don't know. Certainly Mona and Lisa will be maybe in university. Maybe they'll still all be at school. Who knows? But yeah, thanks for those stories. Really appreciate it. Good to see, what makes you guys tick, and some of the wonderful things that have happened in your lives. But let's get on to the main part of the show. And we're going to talk about parent engagement in the school setting. And it's such an important thing that when you are, developing school community, that, an authentic way of doing that is to reach out to your school community, to be that visible person, to talk to all the parents. You may not know everybody's name, but you take the time to listen to their problems, or or whatever, because parents in a school community are so important. And if we get it right, between the staff and the parents, we form a wonderful foundation for the student to actually move forward. Statistics show that the more involved you are as a parent, the better adjusted at school your children are, and invariably they achieve better results as well. What effect on your children did you see, or do you see, as a direct result of being involved with the school? So what did you see with your own children?
For me, I guess, once again, it's a long while ago, but they were always really happy to come to school. And especially in primary school, they were happy to have me around. High school was a little bit different. Yeah. I do remember getting "Oh, you're on the P&C again. Can you get them not to put your name out there?"
Oh, wow.
But I guess for me, something that I've seen, both my girls, well, one my daughter left in the end of year 11, her choice, I wasn't thrilled. And the other daughter went to year 12, but didn't do very well. But I think that overall thing, from knowing that we support education in any way that they choose, both girls, when they were ready for it, have gone back to university and done what they needed to do now. And one's now a fully qualified social worker, and the other one's doing teaching at uni. And I think if we hadn't showed support for them all along in their choices, none of that would have happened. We could have forced one to stay at high school and she would have dropped out and gone and done who knows what. But, I think because we always supported them and showed them that it was important, that it was easy for them to make that decision down the track.
Yeah, and I suppose as parents, being involved in the school, you get to know what that importance is about education and how we should approach that, more so than other parents who aren't as involved. And that's what I'm hearing from you there, Julie. What about you, Bill?
Yeah.
Well, I'm still at the early stages, but I do remember when I grew up as a student at Lincoln Public School, it was hard because parents, both my parents were working long hours, because we were came to Australia from New Zealand that time, and it was hard to engage in focusing on learning, because we just wanted to come and hang out with our friends and stuff like that. But then what was good about it was we had friends that had parents that were involved in the school. And so they were oozing with a lot of confidence. And so we sort of stuck to them, and we thought, what brings that confidence that we could actually take on it for ourselves when we're in school? And so I saw it benefit them, but it also benefits everyone else that's around them. And I'm sure, like Julie said with her kids, respectfully, the other kids will probably feed off that nice confidence, because parent and as me, I actually saw the canteen lady back in those days as maybe my auntie or something, because that's how I felt growing up as a child, that it found it very hard for my parents to come and help out at the school. But now I see it as myself, as a parent at the school, I see a direct positive result for my kids. I remember when first coming to Lincoln Public School as a parent, I wasn't as supportive, because your first time you sort of criticize that and this, and think this could be done better. But then as I built the courage to come and turn up to events at the school and volunteer here and there, and then turn up to P&C meetings, I started to realize that the difference in my kids' learning was building points as a child. And they were like, they felt confident coming to school, but then their kids started to do the same things. I started high-fiving kids before COVID and stuff like that, and they feel like they're part of the Lincoln Public School family, and I feel very blessed. And I think that sort of helped my children's learning, because I do find when I got to a stage where I got a bit lazy, just drop the kids, come home, drop the kids, come home. The kids would come home, and that explain things about school, and I wouldn't really interact properly with them on those sort of school issues. And then their results were starting to play out. But when I started to come back into the school, not only dropping them, listening to and learning myself on what's going on, the kids responded so positively. And so when they came home, they actually were vibing, and their friends as well. Their friends, you'll see it in their friends. And everyone's results as a school and as a public school community family, I thought that's great, building this positive vibe. But yeah, that's just my experience as a young parent. I can't wait till they all grow up, but still learn.
Yeah. Well, but what a great story in that, you talk about how you felt things were going as a child, and the confidence you derived from others around you that had parents involved in the school, and now you're providing exactly the same thing. You walk into the school and lots of kids actually know you, Bill, and they will give you the high fives, and you build that confidence amongst others as well. So yeah, what a great cycle that's been, particularly for you, Bill. Well done. All right, tell me why it is so crucial that parents show some support for the school, or talk about that type of support at home with the kids, or talk positively about the school. Why is that so crucial?
Well, I think as Bill said, if you're talking positively, the kids take that on, they then spread that out to their friends. And it's that if there isn't that support between the parents and the teachers, then it's really hard for those kids to move ahead, and being involved in the school just gives you that insight into so many things. And even building that relationship with the teachers, it can be as simple as just saying hi to them, in the good old days when you were allowed on site. But that all starts to build that relationship, and we need that relationship to work. And I know it's very hard here at times, especially because we have so many different cultures in our school. Building that relationship can be really hard because obviously first you've got a language barrier with a lot of parents, and we're really lucky that we have our community language teachers. But it's also, their thoughts and their feelings from their schooling back in whatever country they were born in, and there's very different attitudes. So I know when I was community engagement officer, that really allowed me to get in and see what sorts of things at times these parents needed. And a lot of the time, to get them to come in and build that relationship was simply about making them feel comfortable, even just coming through the gate. And that was a huge thing. And I saw, I did different things like, we did some cooking things, we did some knitting things. They weren't all about educating the kids, because the parents couldn't get past that fear of coming in and thinking either I'm going to have to do something, or this isn't how my schooling was, so I don't understand it, so I'm not going to come in. So just getting them in and making them feel comfortable with anything in the school then led them to coming to a lot more things. So it just makes that huge difference in coming in and promoting everything that we have and knowing what we've got, so they can go out and tell other people, what a brilliant school we are.
That's right, and getting rid of some of those barriers. Like, when I first came to the school, it was P&C meetings, and we'd have some in the morning, and bring along your toddlers and stuff like that, because that would, certainly, say to a parent, well, if I couldn't bring them along, well, I can't go to a P&C meeting, but I can bring them along, so I feel comfortable enough to do that. And so breaking down some of those barriers is very important. What about for you, Bill?
Yeah, I think Mrs. Russia on the head with communication is key. We as parents, if we don't sort of understand things, sometimes there's a bit of negativity that just seeps in, and it's, to me, it was unnecessary for me. I can admit to that. When I first came to the school, I used to think, there's a lot of things that could have been done better, but could be done this way and that way. But it wasn't until I actually came in to have a look, not as in I'm coming in as a teacher or anything, but just to come and have a look at how the curriculum works at our school. It gave me a sense of pride, even sense of pride of what our teachers have to work with, in our community. And, having P&C executive back in those days, to see what they were actually doing, it got me very emotional. It got me very, because I was thinking, wow, everyone's doing this not only for their own children, but for everyone else inside the community. And it was, that to me is key, just asking, having a look, not understanding, just go in and have a look, and you would understand better, and it just builds more of a positive vibe on everyone. But at the same time, when you sit back and you see how everything's going, it gives you a nice pride, because you feel you're involved at that particular time, because you're giving time to have a look at how our school works, what works here, what works there. I've failed many times, and I look and think, man, this could be done better. And you have a look and you say, that's why these things are done certain ways, and this way and that way. And, also trying to have respect of who walked the path before us. As a parent, when I first came to the school, I think, no, it should be done this way. Not respecting, there was an actual P&C before me, and there was parents that came before, and they actually went through a process of learning themselves. And so me coming into the school, it took me a long while, and I'm just super thankful of what the whole school's been doing. And Mr. Lewis, our office staff, our P&C before executive, we've got a great executive in Linda Choi and Susanna Park as our secretary and our treasurer. But we're not being able to humble ourselves and understand how the past worked. We need to work into the future, and it just builds more positive vibes. And me respecting that has just allowed people like life members like Julie and Raylene to actually come and give more positive input on what could be done, how it could be done better, and maybe we can look at doing this. We were talking about doing this. Can we try to do this? And it's great, and I love it, and I'm super thankful for that. Thank you, Julie and Raylene, and even Sonia, everyone else that's helped out, Mel, Rennie, and there's too many to thank. I actually thanked about over 100 people on the original video for Channel 9. Unfortunately, from 20 minutes, they took only probably a minute and a half, but it's
that's
great.
That's the news for you. But incredibly self-effacing here, Bill. You are certainly one of our most supportive parents within our community, and I don't want you to sort of go back and say, oh, look, I was this, I was that. You are a very supportive parent, and you do a wonderful job. But I've got to say that these principal office podcasts are being viewed by pre-service teachers. So we've also got to recognise in this space that it is also incumbent upon our teachers to develop those relationships with our parents and to make sure that that's a very strong relationship, because as I said before, that foundation that a teacher and parents can build together only serves to be a wonderful situation for a child, because together, as teachers and parents, that's where the secret is. And if we support each other, then the child will move forward. So, thank you for your answers there. Very, very good. If happiness, academic prowess, extracurricular activities, talking positively about the school are so important, what will we see in terms of the impact for our school community? So, I do remember when I first came, it was about literacy, a little bit of numeracy, but not so much about the extracurricular programs. Things like that, they have a marked impact on our school from what I can see as a leader. But what does it mean to, you guys in your roles? Julie, when I first came, you were a community liaison officer.
Yep.
And Bill, you as a parent. What has some of these things done as far as an impact for our school is concerned?
Well, I think it's certainly that positivity and especially once again in that community engagement role. it did allow so many more parents to come into the school and come in with a positive outlook. So even down to things that might seem as minor as, helpers at different things, those numbers built up because we were building that rapport with families. And, the minute you get parents in, that's when things start to happen. And as I said, the kids benefit because, it's socially, emotionally, even physically, the kids benefit so much from having those parents on board. And the feeling in the community here, I've been here an awful long time, and I've been through numerous communities and different feelings in a lot of those communities. And what we have now is amazing, and it's taken a lot of hard work by everybody, by the staff, by the families, and by the kids. But when you see those kids coming through the gate every day and the smiles on their faces because they want to be here. I certainly don't remember that feeling when I was at school. I know when my kindergarten teacher wasn't there, I walked home one day. That was it.
Oh,
but we just, it's hard to put into words the what we have built here. But we have, the most supportive community that I've ever seen at this point of time, and especially through incredibly difficult times. I think this is where it's showing just how good a relationship we have with our families and our kids.
Yeah, Bill.
Yeah, like Julie was saying, having that positive vibe inside the community, I think it's important. Having the extracurricular activities probably allowed some of the parents to come in pre-COVID. And it was great. Like we touched on before, having that interaction between teachers and parents and staff and everyone and parents actually built a more positive vibe inside our community. I know for myself, when I go out into our community, everyone says, "You go to that school?" Like people are like, "Yeah, I'll go to that school. I'll go to that school too." The kids go to that school, and it feels like we're saying to each other that we go to that school. It's that good of a school that the kids go to the school, but then the parents are saying that we go to that school too. And then even outside community, because we do a lot of club sports going outside, and they say, "You go to that school, don't you? Lincoln Public School?" Yeah. And it gives me a sense of pride, and also at the same time, if I feel that I'm so lucky to send my kids here, could you imagine how many other parents feel the same way? And then that communication just goes right through the whole Sydney community, and everyone's like, "Can we go to the school?" Just personally, I've got a niece who wanted to come back to the school.
There you go. There you go. And also, that's a wonderful response, to be quite honest. But when we do go through the programs that we have, talk about young teachers starting off and just getting their program together, making sure that their teaching day is what it needs to be. But it's the involvement in these other programs. It's involvement in, say, sport or dance, or our cultural nights. The really important. I suppose they're not more important than any other. You know what I mean? Like, reading and writing, certainly for mine, isn't more important than some of these programs, particularly our cultural nights, because it all builds towards the rich tapestry that we're trying to weave within this community. But for young pre-service teachers, it's not just about that program or just being in the class, but get involved in as much as you can, because that's where the real respect comes from the parent community and certainly the children too. So, yeah. Thanks for your answers, guys. Wonderful. What have you learned along the way? Or what are you still learning as a significant parent within our school setting? There's many involvements that you've had, but we're all on this on this earth to learn throughout our life. So what have you learned, or what are you still learning as far as being that significant parent is concerned?
That's a tough one, I guess. I mean, obviously, I've
a
learned
recently new grandparent as well. Like,
yes.
Like you've got a probably different eyes now from your own kids, and your granddaughter Savannah, who's very, very cute. She'll have to start school one day, So You know, what have you learned along the way that you know when she starts school you want to see?
Well, I would certainly hope that her mother gets involved as much as I do, because I have learned that the difference that makes. You know, I've loved every minute of it, and obviously I'm still here in a different form, but I just hope that she has that joy of going to school and learning, that you know, my girls did, because of that commitment that we gave to education and what they then gave to it. You know, it's, as we said, that being involved, I can't stress enough how important that is as a parent. And whether that comes down to making friends for you or for your children, or you know, whatever it involves, you know, you get so much out of it, that then just transfers to your children. And like you know, kids are kids, and they're not always going to love going to school every day, but you instill that love of the learning and how important it is. I want Savannah to be able to go there every day and just go, wow, you know, here we go again. This is what I'm here for, you know, and be able to come home and tell her mum all about what she's done. And that, you know, mum will be there just to support her, because I mean, I didn't really have that as a kid. And so, you know, I do think my kids appreciated it in the long run, and I'm you know, I'm sure Savannah will too. She'll see that.
Absolutely. What about you, Bill?
Well, I've learned a lot. I actually thought that all I had to do was just drop my child to school to say she teaches everything, and everything's fixed. You know, and just being more involved in the school, I see that if we can build a good atmosphere in our Lidcombe Public School community, we all work together to get that child a very good education, you know, for the time that they are at Lidcombe Public School, from kindergarten right up to year 6. And I think that has built my confidence into the curriculum that Lidcombe Public School is actually teaching for our kids, you know, for all their extra activities, and, you know, the confidence in teaching, watching the teachers teach, has actually got me to do some sort of little bit of teaching, but all I do is supervise. Yeah, you guys, well, thank God. But yeah, and and when it came down to this pandemic, I think that's where it actually helped me a lot as well, because now I'm starting to refer to, it's almost like those karate movies, you know, when the sensei passes away, and what did the sensei do? You know, you're not going to be as good as the master, but you're best with what you got, and that's what you learn from the Lidcombe Public School. You know, it's in our last verse of the song, you know, forward together. And I think we're all in this together, sort of thing, and it's great. It's great, and the foundation that it's built at the school with the teachers, the staff, the kids, community. I think that's where it comes from. This, you know, we've got to have a bit of adversity, and I think Lidcombe Public School has done that for our, you know, not only our kids but our general Lidcombe Public School community in itself. Yeah, thank you to everyone.
Oh, look, you know, but it is, you're right. It's a whole school community together, and that's what makes the difference. Whether we have Mr. Miyagi or not, you know, we're all in this together. And to be quite honest, I think everybody lending themselves to the process of being part of a child's education is by far and away the greatest success we have as a school. And the relationships we build along the way, and so very, very important. I think you guys, you know, go on, Bill.
Also, respecting each other as well. I think not all of us are lucky to have time to help out at the school, and so there was one time I went up to the assembly, and I thought, thanking every volunteer that turned up to help out the P&C, but also thanking every parent in whatever level they do at trying to get their kids to school. I mean, just getting their kids in school, I think that deserves something. And I think that if we can do that, I think it might encourage more parents to come, you know, and help out. Just trying to not discriminate, because I know the demographics has changed when I was at school. You know, when I was at school, I think I was the only Islander back then. You know, things have changed, and I'm loving the buzz that we have at the office, the teachers, and where the only color we see is Lincoln Public School community, and I love it. Thank you very much. That's all I had to add. Sorry about that.
No, that's absolutely perfect at this particular time, Bill. But I think you guys really underestimate the impact you both have had on our school community and our teachers and certainly the children within Lincoln Public School. Both very important members of what we've tried to achieve and important partners in education. And I want to thank you not only for being on the show today, but certainly, for everything you've done. Don't think I could find two people who better exude the values that we have here at Lincoln Public School. So thank you very much for both of you and what you do. All right, It's time for the song challenge.
Uh-oh.
Right, so I'll give you a brief rundown. So you just come in whenever you feel like you know the song title and the artist. All right. So now I have two Minties, and I'll make sure that they come out to you. All right. So there is the chance to take both. If you get both song title and artist, you might get one each. The person that does get two may want to share as well. So I'll be coming. I'll be in the mail. All right. As far as I think you can send them in the mail. Anyway. So when you've got an inkling as to when you think you know what it is, just yell it out. I'm going to say the words. I'm not going to sing them. All right. No. Singing's too away too easily. And if you don't know this one, then there must be something wrong with you, I've got to say. But anyway, we'll see how we go. The first line. Should get it on the first line. Should. Okay. Travelling in a fried out combi.
Down under, Men at Work.
Yes, exactly right. Only one line, there you go. Congratulations, Julie. You get the two.
Share it with you, Bill. All good, mate.
Oh, see, that's what Lincoln Public School is all about. Sharing, caring, fantastic. Well, one line. And you were worried about it, Julie.
I was.
What about the other night on The Voice, and this is probably going to date this episode, but the other night on The Voice, that young lady, I think she was only 18 years old, on the piano singing a very different version of it.
She was amazing. Yeah.
She was. Yeah. Great show. But anyway, look, I'd like to thank you again for being part of the Principal's Office podcast. It's a very, very important tool, I think, for pre-service teachers, and we're covering a range of topics, and certainly I don't know if there's any one more topic that's more important than developing a really good relationship with the parents of our school and the parents of your class or whatever it might be, and getting involved within the whole school culture. So important for young teachers to do that, and today you've given them an insight into what they really need to do when they do become teachers at the end of it. Also, I'd like to thank Erwin Manalo, our executive producer, who's behind the Lincoln Public School sign there on our screen. He does a lot of work behind the scenes, and I really, really appreciate that. Thank you for joining us today. To all the viewers, all our pre-service teachers and whatnot, don't forget to like us on Facebook, the Principal's Office, also on LinkedIn under my name, Matt Lewis, Twitter as well, under Matty D. Lewis. And of course, at the end of this video, you'll see the arrows that point downstairs to subscribe. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Love to have you subscribe and keep abreast of all of our topics. But thank you for joining us today. And can't wait to see you next time on the Principal's Office. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
It's off to the principal's office you go. It's off to the principal's office I go.